Now, we are down here at the Senior Times 50 Plus Expo in Limerick, and I have taken a little chunk of time and stolen away Martina Murphy from Martina Murphy Solicitors to talk about one of the things that I'm finding is coming up as a question down below, and that is the whole issue of enduring power of attorney. So let's start by answering some of the basic questions. What is an enduring power of attorney, Martina?
Good morning, Sinead, and thank you for inviting me onto the podcast. An enduring power of attorney is a document, it's a legal document whereby one person can appoint another person to manage their affairs in the event that they become incapacitated. So you make it today, it's like an insurance policy, you make it today, but it doesn't come into effect until such time as it's required. So if somebody got dementia, Alzheimer's, or had a stroke, anything along those lines, the enduring power of attorney would come into play.
OK, well, let's bust a few myths right off the mark. This is sometimes called a living will.
Yes.
I think people call it that. But is it true that it only covers the financial aspects of somebody rather than medical decisions that they might make about their medical health care?
Yes and no. It does cover welfare decisions and it covers financial. And the person who's making it can decide, do they want to give the attorney the power to deal with their financial affairs, or do they want to give them the power to deal with welfare decisions, so such as nursing homes, any kind of occupational health queries. If you wanted to get into the whole area of the do not resuscitate or things like that, that's covered by an advanced healthcare directive, which is a different document.
OK. Now, you've used the word attorney, and this is called the enduring power of attorney. And any of us that watch American television will think that that's about a lawyer. But in fact, in this case, your attorney, it may be just a family member.
Correct. Now, it can be anybody, but in general, it's a family member that you trust, that will know your wishes. So you might have an elderly person who is dead set against going into a nursing home. And they know that perhaps their son or their daughter, they know that they will not put them into a nursing home. So they will appoint them as their attorney, what's called an attorney.
And likewise, the attorney, which could be an adult child, can also make the decision that, in fact, for mum or dad, a nursing home might be the best and safest option, and therefore they can sign the forms and contracts and manage the money once that time comes. Is that really...
That is correct. Now, we see a lot of it in our office, Sinead. Only the other day we had someone who came in, their mother had gone into a nursing home. They were trying to sort out the fair deal scheme. The nursing home was owed €30,000. Mum, who's in the nursing home, had €100,000 in her credit union account. The children couldn't access it.
Because the banks, quite rightly, until they know who owns the money and what's to happen with it, they can't really release other people's money.
Correct.
Until this is in place. So while you can go to court and get that document after the fact, it's much, much easier to do it when somebody's well and has capacity to make this particular legal document, which is an enduring power of attorney.
Correct.
Now, there was a new act, Martina, that came into play a few years ago called the Assisted Decision Making Act. How has that impacted on these documents?
It has been a disaster, Sinead. There's no beating around the bush about it. It's been a nightmare for solicitors, for the clients themselves, for family carers, even for organisations.
Tell us why.
Because it's, number one, the volume of paperwork that needs to be completed. Number two, it's computer-based. So if you are an elderly person, you're not going to be able to access a laptop. You're not going to probably have an email address in a lot of instances.
Well, we know that some older people
are
very tech-savvy.
I should say that.
But these documents, I've had a go myself, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I'm not too bad on the tech side.
Yeah.
It outwitted me, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So this was an attempt by the government. I mean, well-meaning, and I think the purpose of assisted decision making was to empower people with less capacity than other people to be a part of their own decision making. So I think the intent was there. But my understanding of it was this was to make it a smoother process, that anybody could make an EPA, an enduring power of attorney, if they kind of just filled out a few forms and uploaded them, because this is an expensive piece of kit. But it turned out to be extremely complicated, and because necessarily these are medical forms, these are legal forms, and really a lot of us lay people wouldn't know a lot about that.
It's not just lay people, Sinead. Unfortunately, solicitors,
even the professionals,
we find it very difficult to navigate the whole process. And even when you do navigate it, and we do them in the office, even when you do navigate it, you're waiting months for the DSS to actually process them.
So the outcome of that, or the impact of that, is that instead of encouraging more people to make EPAs, which are important to do in life when you're well,
absolutely,
it has discouraged them and made it harder. And I do understand, Martina, that a number of solicitors now have just stepped away completely and said, look, we're no longer going to do these because we can't stand over all the documentation. Is that the case?
That is correct. At the moment, the Dublin Solicitors Bar Association, the Dublin solicitors are not doing them.
So where does that leave someone today who would like to put this in place when they're well and healthy, because you have to have full capacity to do it, and their family wants them to do it? What do you recommend for those people?
Well, there isn't a database of solicitors that do it, which is another thing that's probably missing there. So even if you ring up the DSS and you ask them, can you give me the name of a solicitor who is doing it? They can't or won't give it. So you're reduced to basically ringing around to find a solicitor who will do it.
Can it be done without a solicitor? Because my understanding was, when this act came out, and the idea that EPAs would be put up online, that ordinary people could do it, because you can make a will without a solicitor. It's, as long as you fill out all the checks and balances and have witnesses. It was my understanding that this was to avoid the whole legal shenanigans. So is it possible to do this without a lawyer at the other end?
Short answer, no, because there is a form as part of this whole process where a solicitor has to certify capacity. So a doctor has to do it, but a solicitor also has to do it. So
because it gives such legal heft that you want to be satisfied that maybe the older person isn't under duress or being coerced in any way, and that's something that you can only determine presumably by interviewing them.
Yeah. Now, in my office, we will not actually, if somebody does them themselves and then they come in and they ask us to sign the solicitor form, we don't do it.
What would you call on government to do now, Martina?
Well, I have made representation, as has our professional body, the Law Society, to try and streamline the process. I suppose the first thing would be that we would have access as solicitors to the portal so that we can upload the information and put in the information from the outset, instead of having to get the client to log in with the MyGov ID and all the rest. That, like other portals that are out there for the Legal Aid or the Mental Health Commission, that we would have access to it and can do that. And that would speed it up a lot.
It might speed it up, and I think you're probably right there. But the downside of that is it goes against what the government was trying to do here, which was make it free of charge.
Yeah.
Because if you have to deploy staff in a solicitor's office to do all that form filling, you're going to have to charge for it.
You are going to have to charge, Sinead. And it's not cheap. It's about €1,500 to get it done.
Would you recommend
it has
that
to be done, though?
Maybe adult children could cobble together and help mum or dad with that and just pay for it in the old-fashioned way? Is that still what people are doing?
That is still what people are doing.
And are you, Martina Murphy, prepared to do EPAs on that basis? And do you know if other solicitors are? And just kind of until this is sorted out?
Yes.
Would you recommend that older people get on with that and do it either way
100%.
if they have the means.
Yes, it's a necessity. I even see with my own parents, Sinead, if they wanted to change even from Sky to another provider of broadband, like they can't, if they're not able to ring the Sky are going to say, can I speak to the account holder?
Yeah.
So unless you have a document there to say,
I am taking overcharge and I've the legal
this.
capacity to do it. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, well look, not as productive and positive
I'm
to you on this
yeah,
occasion.
no.
But look, it's important that people know and that there is a solution.
Yes.
As there, it's the old solution rather than
Yeah.
the new solution.
Yeah.
But it is something that most people would recommend a family have put in place.
Absolutely. I think it's not even a recommendation. It should be a necessity.
All right. Well, that
people do
is
it.
the enduring power of attorney document, and much more complicated than a will. And of course, it might never be used.
Yeah.
But as you said, Martina, it's like an insurance policy, and it allows that smooth transition over people's financial affairs with everything from broadband providers to getting money out of the bank
Right.
if somebody is unable to do it. All right. Well, listen, thanks for taking time out to join us on the
Thank you, Sinead.
podcast. You head back now to the expo downstairs. We're in Limerick. And of course, next year, 2026, there'll be another range of expos all over the country that you can come to, and you can meet solicitors like Martina and indeed lots and lots of other valuable resources down there. And we'll be putting up dates for those and venues for those in due course on the Facebook site and wherever you get your Senior Times updates from. I'm Sinead Ryan, and thank you for listening to this podcast. And remember, all of the other episodes are up on Mind It. And why don't you like and subscribe so you don't miss one and you'll get all of the information involved.